Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina, visiting Parkway Hyundai, and I'm checking out a 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe all-wheel drive in the limited trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 235/50 Continental tires wrapped around 19-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Hampton Gray, and luckily the sun is shining on it a little bit. You can see it has some sparkles in it, and it kind of looks like a pearl coat to me, but it just says Hampton Gray on all the literature, but it is a pretty impressive color. I think the name kind of diminishes a little bit how nice this color is. You think of gray as just kind of not a very good color, but this one looks nice, especially with all the other design features of the vehicle. So here in the front, there's quite a bit going on here. A lot of technology and pretty smart design here with the grille and all that. And it's very catchy to the eye. So there's a lot of satin chrome here in the front. So almost all this is a satin chrome. The only part that's actually a reflective chrome is right there. It's kind of like mirror light for the badge. So you can see the difference there between this part and that part. So that's like a satin chrome. So as far as the technology, you have parking sensors here in the front, and they're blended in quite well. So there's some down here in the black portion, which is a flat black. Up here, right in that area, is a parking sensor integrated into the body color of the vehicle. Now there's a little camera right in here. You see that little camera? That's part of the surround 360 camera system. And you notice the badge is open, so air can flow through. And the openings here on the grille are very large, so they can allow air to flow through relatively easy without much drag. So if you have little tiny holes, then the air has a hard time getting through those holes and getting into the cooling system. So having those large, rounded off openings there in the grille, it allows for the airflow, and also it has a unique style to it as well. Down here is the radar adaptive cruise control sensor, kind of blended in the bottom. All the exterior lights on this vehicle are LED. So you have, for the headlights, LED projector, low and high beam, separate lights. You also have a little reflector portion at the bottom, just under here, right there, that kind of fills in the areas closer to the vehicle. Projectors are really good for projecting light away from the vehicle at further distance, which is very good, but sometimes they're a little lacking up close to the vehicle, so they added those little reflectors there at the bottom to kind of fill in that gap there. Looking at the profile of the vehicle, there is a little black portion that's at the very bottom of the front of the vehicle, and then it comes to the side and then around each wheel well and underneath each door, and it continues around the entire vehicle. So the doors go all the way down to the bottom, and I'll show you why they do that in just a few minutes. Now the handles are body colored, the upper portion of the side mirrors body colored, but the pillars here are a gloss black. So it has the privacy glass there in the back. And if you were to tint the front glass, you can see it's almost already solidifying all that glass portion by having that gloss black pillar here and here. And then that's all surrounded by a chrome trim, so that kind of solidifies it even more, kind of giving it that longer, sleeker look. This is what the key looks like, and it's a rounded and relatively light key fob that's contoured in a way that's just kind of easy to carry around with you in your pocket. It does have a lot of functionality here. You have the ability to remote start the vehicle, open up the power lift gate, panic button, so it'll sound the alarm, sound the horn, lock and unlock, but it also has the ability to move the vehicle forward and back. So if you need to pull it forward into a parking space or out of a parking space, you can press and hold these buttons, and it will just basically keep the wheel straight and move the vehicle. But generally, you can just keep this key in your pocket and use the vehicle 100%. With the proximity system, it's designed where you don't have to take the key out all the time. So the buttons are there, you can use them, but as long as you have the key with you, you can use the vehicle. So you can walk up as long as the key's on the outside of the door. If you want to lock the door, there's a little sensor indicated by this little square dimple. You put your hand over it, your finger, and once it senses the key, it senses your hand position, it locks the door. So that's the lock button. It also folds the side mirrors when you have that setting enabled. To unlock it, you simply put your hand behind the handle. There's a sensor back here, and as long as the key's on the outside of the door, it'll allow you access to the vehicle. Now you can set it up to where it will unlock this door or all doors when you do this. So it allows you access. Also, there is a physical key located right back here. You can see right back there. And you can see it sticking straight out. So to use the physical key, which isn't located inside the key fob if you need it, in case of emergencies or whatever, you can take this cover right here. You just kind of pop that off and you can put the key in and turn it and unlock the door that way, you know, only in a more extreme situation. I'm going to demonstrate the movement of the vehicle with the key fob. So you want to go ahead and remote start it. So we press the lock button and then we press and hold the remote start. Now that the vehicle is started, we can press and hold. I'm going to move it backwards. So we're going to press and hold this button here to the right. And when we do that, it'll go very, very slow backwards. As soon as you let go, it stops. Now, if you want to go forward, do the same thing. You press the other button, press and hold it, and and it'll go forward. It goes very, very slow. All right, so now it's back in park. So one thing to note is that if the front wheels are not perfectly straight, it will straighten them up first before it starts moving. It's not going to move the vehicle with the wheels turned in any way. I mentioned that the doors go all the way down to the side of the vehicle. So you can see right in here, this threshold area, and this covers up that area. It even has a seal, a rubber seal down here as well. So the intention is to try to keep as much dirt and debris from going in this area. So when you get in and out of the vehicle, this area is cleaner than it will otherwise be. The inside of the passenger door, it's mostly black. It does have some stitching there and some pretty neat design features. So here at the top, this is like an injection molded soft touch surface here, and then this is kind of like a vinyl type material, and that is a soft touch. The rest of the door is a hard touch, hard plastic. Now this area, this handle is also a pocket, so it has a rubber portion there at the bottom, and it's enclosed, so you can put stuff in there if you want. You can pop your cell phone up in there, whatever. Also, check out the speaker grill. This has the premium Harman Kardon sound system, which sounds amazing. And it has like a little texturing, which looks pretty cool, on the speaker grill. There's also a relatively large pocket here on the bottom. Place to put a bottle here, and then you can see this kind of elongated pocket here. So you can put your mail or whatever, papers, pretty much anything in there, umbrella, that kind of thing in there in the door. Now there's also a little bit of a design right here. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of looks a little bit like it's going for like a carbon fiber type look. But just kind of an accent, and it continues down here as well. So here's the threshold, and it does have a little bit of a Santa Fe, a little bit of a fancy seal plate there, just saying Santa Fe. And also this is to protect the paint as well. So as you're putting your legs in and out, this will protect the paint right in this area. So it does have a power seat here on the passenger side. It even goes up and down, tilt, and everything. A lot of functionality for a passenger seat. A lot of passenger seats are just, you know, cut down, less articulation and all that stuff. But this one does have the full, you know, range like a dentist seat chair. It's able to go up and down and tilt and forward and back and all that stuff just with those buttons. These seats are leather trimmed, and it has a little bit of like, it looks like a cloth piping there in gray. a lot of stitching. And you'll notice that the leather stops here, and then there's a very supple cloth where it meets up with this hard plastic as a way of protecting the seat. So that way it can handle being in contact with that hard plastic more than the leather can. It might dig into it over time. So you can see there's perforations there in the center part. Really nice looking and very comfortable seats. These are heated and ventilated seats. They contour nicely without being too intrusive. Just very comfortable and impressive looking. So there's a USB port. You can see this little cubby right in here, and it's usable by the driver or the passenger. And you can see there's a USB charge port here as well. Plenty of legroom here in the front, and there is one place for the floor mat, which is not in place yet, to hook in. Kind of tapers up, and nice kind of angle for your feet. This is a hard touch plastic here. Just a glove compartment. Pretty good size. It is smooth plastic on the inside. And I like the way it kind of swoops down, so that way you can kind of wipe it out and clean it out easier. And you take this out, and your cabin filter is located behind this. It makes it easy to get to, so you don't have to pop the hood and all that stuff. Get your hands dirty. So right here is a kind of like a vinyl type material, soft touch here for the dash as well. And there's more of that French stitching. And a little cubby hole, so you can put stuff in there. It's got a rubberized bottom, goes in there quite a ways. So when you get in the vehicle, it gives you a nice spot to put some stuff, and it's still visible and easy to reach and easy to see as well. Sometimes when you put stuff in the door, it's kind of a pain when you're driving to try to fish it out or whatever. But this, having that little cubby hole right here, being able to access it easily right there in front of you is nice, just to kind of be able to set stuff down. Because even right in here is kind of a little bit of a pain to get to and see. So the dash kind of has like this tier design. So this is the vinyl type material. Has more of that carbon fiber type stuff right in there, and then you have a hard touch, non-reflective surface there at the very top. Massive sunroof as well. I'll show you that a little bit later on, but it is nice. Getting in and out of the vehicle is very easy for me. I'm able to just kind of basically go straight in and out without climbing up or dropping down or anything like that. It's just a real comfortable vehicle to get in and out. Also, the head space and just the overall room and the swing of the door is nice. Here in the back, same deal. You got lots of room. It's almost bigger here in the top part. It is kind of bigger here. A little bit of a tapering right there as far as getting in and out. But the swing of the door really helps out a lot. It has a nice swing out, and so you can access the second row very easy. And that's the thing. Sometimes some vehicles are just a little bit of a pain getting in and out, which diminishes the enjoyment of driving it. The inside of the back door, very similar styling as the front, but it does have a shade. In addition to the privacy glass, you do have a shade, and it retracts into the door when you're not using it, completely out of the way, which is cool. But you have soft touch here, hard touch, basically the same thing as the front. I mean, there's very little difference, just a little bit of the shape of the door and stuff like that, but very similar. Same thing with the threshold area, just a little bit smaller. And the back seat is basically a bench seat in which you can just get in and slide over, but it does have an armrest and cup holders here in the middle. You can move that out of the way when you need a center passenger. It does have the latch system for car seats as well. And like I said, lots of room to get in and out. There's a pocket on the back of this passenger side, but not the driver's side for some reason. And it is a hard touch plastic surface here on the back of the seats. This is good because sometimes, kids kick sitting in the seat. They're like kicking the seats and stuff. So this kind of protects the seat. Like if it was leather or something, it might mess it up, but this is a hard surface, very durable. And then this pocket's kind of like most likely like a vinyl type material. It's easy to clean and relatively durable. The floor is almost completely flat. It has a little bit of a hump there in the middle, But as far as getting in and then your knees not sticking up in the air, this is really good, you know, because some vehicles, the seats are too close to the floor and your knees are sticking up. But this one, you know, it's kind of like a chair height. The back of the center console has 2 vents there for the climate control. It also has a 115 volt, 150 watt power supply, an outlet like you'd find in your house, and then 2 USB charge ports. So I'm glad they put 2. Would be nice if they put 3, so that way, you know, if you have 3 passengers back here, they can all use it. But having 2 is excellent. That's really nice, because I'm glad that they pay attention to what people do in the back seats, and that is they're playing around with their phones and stuff. So having the ability to plug in is nice. Now these seats fold down and adds to your cargo space, so it's really easy to do it. Just lift this up. There's also a button in the back that folds them down as well, but I just want to show you what it does, because it actually pushes down the lower portion of the seat as this comes down, and it actually gives you almost a flat surface level with the cargo area. Another thing I like about it is it locks in place, so this seat's not flopping around. It's solid, you know. So certain things like that might make a big difference, but if you were to get in an accident, if you have things that are not secure in the vehicle, they could be flopping around and causing a big problem. So having this secure when it's down, secure when it's up, I think is a great thing. In addition to folding the seats down, you can also recline the seats independently using that same button, that lever there on the side of the seat. Instead of folding it down, you just push back on it and you can see it reclines. So that one's all the way back, and this one is in the forward position, so you can see the different positions that it has. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, let's start here at the top. This one has the horizontal roof rails in place. You can take these off if you're not using them, but you know, that's what they look like when they are installed. There's also a shark fin antenna, body colored shark fin antenna. The third brake light is right here in the rear spoiler, and the upper portion is body colored, but the lower portion is a gloss black. It kind of blends in more with the glass back here, which is nice. Rear wiper as well. All LED taillights look really cool. Now the taillights are interesting because you have the tail lights and the brake lights and all that stuff, but then the turn signals are way there at the bottom. So be nice if they were up higher, because they can get, those turn signals can get, it's good that they're separated, I guess, from the brake light and all that stuff, but they can get obscured by other traffic on the road. So having them in that low position is fine if there's nothing in the way, but you know, it could be an issue, I guess, for certain scenarios. The backup camera is offset, so having it right in there is kind of odd. Since this is a 360 camera system, it has a camera in the front, it has a camera here in the back. It also has a camera on each side of the side mirror, right under there. And it's kind of like a wide view camera, like a GoPro, you know, wide view camera system. And so having it in, if it was in the middle, I think it would work with the system a little bit better. Also, as a backup camera would work a little bit better, but it's not that far offset. But you know, it seems odd that some manufacturers choose to put a little bit offset. I think it's, you know, it'd be more symmetrical too if you had it in the center. Also, maybe in a higher position as well. So underneath here, you see a lot of the tag and stuff, and you know, it's functional, but you know, I think it could be improved, and I think eventually manufacturers will have them more integrated with the design and also in better placement as well. So back here, there's parking sensors. So you can see there's a parking sensor there, and they're integrated in that black portion of the vehicle. And then there's some more of that satin chrome at the bottom, and a single exhaust outlet here on the right side. So opening up the power lift gate, we can of course use the key, but there's also a button under here as well. So you can push that and lift it up. So it has that hard plastic there on the inside. It's a durable material. So if you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this would be your cargo space, and pretty good amount of space actually. There's a 12-volt power supply here on the right side. Also, you see these buttons here, that's for lowering the second row seats. And then here on the right, you can see these little dimples, and those are for putting in a shade. So you can actually install a shade and pull it in place. This one doesn't have it, you know, to demonstrate, but you can do that. There's also tie downs. So you can see these tie downs right here for tied down cargo in the back. You don't want to confuse those with the tethers for the car seats. So you can see this one has 3 tethers. So it has 3 latch systems. So you can put 3 car seats, or you can put one in any of these positions here. There's the subwoofer integrated here on the left side. And there's also a little spot. You can see that little hook right there. You can put it in a net pocket. You can, you know, hang bags from it, that kind of thing. Just one on that side as well. And there's a little cubby hole here on the right side. This little plastic piece, you can take it off for whatever reason if you want to do that. Mostly for cleaning it out. So under this floor, back here, you can see it's quite a bit of additional cargo space under the floor. Huge amount of space. The reason why there's all this extra space is because it doesn't have a spare tire. And this piece is removable. You can take it out, clean it, put it back in. So that's pretty cool. You can also flip it like so, kind of flip it up, get it out of the way while you're, you know, putting stuff back here. So if you can get an optional spare tire that goes in there, but it diminishes that cargo space. Now, there's also space here. Big old place there on the left side. On the right side is a little caddy for the tire inflator kit, which you can take out and use it. And it's kind of one solid package here. And then you can, you know, put it in place. Or you can put it in a different spot in the vehicle, that kind of thing. So additional space that's below the load floor is nice to have, just, you know, just kind of out of your way if you want to carry stuff with you all the time. Items that you might need, you can put it in there, and in that way it's out of the way during your normal use of the vehicle. So if you want to lower the seats, you have these buttons here, so you can just press like so, press the button, kind of flips the seat down. The only thing is it doesn't like go down with enough force to lock it in place, so you will need to push it down and lock it. But it's nice to have, like you're putting in a box and it just won't fit. You can just quickly go ahead and lower that seat real fast and kind of put it in place. So that's cool. Also, being able to lower one seat or the other and still maintain passenger space while adding to your cargo space, which is nice. Especially if you have a car seat in place, you don't want to take it out. You can just kind of fold down the other side and have a tremendous addition to the cargo area. And of course, once you fold everything down, you have a massive open, wide open spot. The fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it is a locking fuel door. So when the vehicle is locked, it will also lock. When you unlock the doors of the vehicle, it'll also unlock the fuel door. And it's a relatively traditional cap, tether, and a place to hang the cap here on the inside of the door. Starting it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, you press and hold the brake and push this button right here. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice on the driver's side, for the floor mat, it has 2 hooks for the floor mat. So that way it not only keeps it from sliding forward, but it also keeps it from twisting as well. There's the accelerator, brake pedal. The accelerator pivots there at the bottom. And there's a nice big footrest there on the left side, which is essential for me. Lots of leg room as well. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the right of center. So here's the center line right here. Just reach in a little bit to the right and move it to the left. There's a latch right there, then you lift up. You can see there's the latch, you lift it up this way. And when you lift it up, it basically holds itself up. You just keep on going, and it's real easy to lift it up. So there's insulation on the underside of the hood. There's also seals around the back, rubber seals back here. This helps out in the front here. This helps out with airflow and noise, that kind of thing. So the battery it does have some insulation there on the bottom, but it's very easy to get to, just right there. So this is a 2.5 liter turbocharged. You can actually see the turbo right here. You can see the heat shielding around it. And there's also insulation there on the firewall around it as well, because turbos do tend to get very hot. The intake is here. So this is a 4-cylinder engine. So it's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. The front of the engine is here, and the cylinders go 1, 2, 3, 4 that way. And so the intake is here, the exhaust is there. And people get a little confused because of the turbo, and the actual fresh air comes in through the exhaust first, then over to the intake. But it does have this plastic cover and kind of covers up the engine a little bit. So let's go ahead and take that off. We want to see underneath there. It does have a little bit of like a foam anti-vibration type thing there, and also on top of the engine. It also kind of serves as a safety feature, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, there's the engine. You can actually see at the very top, you can see the coil packs where the spark plugs are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. But also this has a dual clutch, and they call it a wet dual clutch transmission. The transmission is down in this way, underneath that battery, all in there. Down at the very bottom is where you'll find the transmission, and then it powers. It's oriented like a front-wheel drive vehicle, but this one in particular is an all-wheel drive, in which it delivers power to the rear wheels as well. There's a little triangle here in the side mirror, and that is for the indicator for the rear cross traffic alert and blind spot detection system. So that will illuminate when there's a vehicle in your blind spot, and it's on both sides, both side mirrors, and it'll illuminate on the appropriate side. Also, if you put your turn signal on, when you have a vehicle in your blind spot, it'll kind of beep at you, let you know, hey, there's a vehicle there, which is pretty cool. So the inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So right here, there's 2 presets for the power seat. There's the child safety locks for the windows, so this keeps the kids from rolling down the windows. And then the power windows here, they're 1 touch up and down for the front 2. So when we do that, just 1 touch goes up and down. This is also solar glass, so it kind of keeps the UV rays from messing up your skin and stuff like that, and a little bit of keeping it from getting too hot in the middle, in the inside of the vehicle is what the intention is. Also, it's a dual pane glass, so there's 2 panels of glass with an acoustic material there on the inside, as you can see right here. And that soft acoustic material there on the inside kind of helps keep vibrations from making its way through into the vehicle. So it has a nice ride quality when we have a quiet vehicle and it's not a bunch of road noise and outside noise seeping through, and you kind of like relax better. That's the way I see it anyway. Now the rear windows, can't roll that one down because of the window sticker, but the rear windows, you do have to hold it and it'll go down, and they go all the way down, so you can see there. So it doesn't like stop at a particular point like some vehicles. So the side mirrors are adjusted here. There's your door locks, and so you can just pick a side and adjust the side mirrors. It also has this button here to fold in the side mirrors. So if you want to fold them in, go through a car wash or whatever it is that you're doing, get into a tight parking spot, you can do that. And of course, it has the feature to where when you lock the vehicle, it'll fold in the side mirrors if you want to have that done. So the driver, of course, the driver's seat has to one-up the passenger. So this one actually one-ups, 2-ups, I guess you can say, as far as features. So in addition to the power seat going up and down and tilt and all that stuff, it has a 4-way lumbar adjustment and a thigh extension. So this right here, when you push it, it pops out and it kind of gives you extra support there on your thighs. And then the lumbar support, you can see it's 4-way, so it's right in here. You can go in and out, up and down, and get it in that right position. So these are very comfortable seats, very functional, and of course they're heated and ventilated as well. So pretty feature rich, especially in a vehicle this price. It's really, really impressive. To the left of the steering column, there's a little cover right here. This is for fuses, so you don't need to access that. Electronic parking brake. So you just pull out on it to engage it, and it will engage the rear wheels. And then you hold the brake and push it in to disengage it. There's a dimmer switch for the interior gauges, lane keep assist, the ability to open up the power liftgate, and traction control. Default is on, but you can turn it off here if you need to spin tires. It also has a tilt and a telescoping steering column. You lock it in place right here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. Actually, change of plans. This is a different vehicle, but it is the same trim level. It's just not an all-wheel drive. So it has almost everything identical except for the all-wheel drive controls that were here. As a testament to how fast these things are selling, the one I had just a second ago is now sold, so this is the backup. But anyways, let's go ahead and check it out. The driver's seat I have all the way down and all the way back, and it's a little bit too far back. I'm 6 feet tall, and so it has a lot of leg room here, so it's just a little bit too far back. So if you're a little bit taller than 6 feet tall, you should have no problem with driving this vehicle. There's plenty of room here. It does have a leather wrap steering wheel, and it's soft. It's not like a block of wood that is wrapped in leather. This one actually has a little bit of give to it, and it is comfortable. It has a good thickness as well. The steering wheel has these paddle shifters that are actually attached to the steering wheel itself, not the column, and so it has the negative there and the positive here, so you can cycle through the 8 gear ratios in the dual clutch transmission. Here on the left side, the buttons, it has the volume for the radio, change through the tracks or the radio stations depending on what you have it set at right there, and then mode will be your audio source. Change your audio source like Bluetooth, satellite radio, that kind of stuff. You can have voice recognition here to where you can call somebody or use it for different commands that's specifically designed for the vehicle, and in the manual it has a list of different commands that you can use, but as far as like the most common thing a lot of people use this for is just to say a name of somebody in your phone book, and you can call them real fast without actually taking your hands off the steering wheel. Now you can answer a call here, and then you can hang up on a call here. Here on the right side, here at the bottom, this is the cruise control right in here. So right here is cruise control. These buttons here and that button correspond with the gauges. We'll get to that in just a minute, these right here. But this is the cruise control. You turn it on, you can set it, resume, cancel. And then this is the part of the adaptive cruise control, which lets you set a distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. So you just press that button and cycle through the distance that you want, and then rest on the one you want. And then this one is the lane keeping assist system. So it'll actually keep your vehicle within the lane while you're driving. You can turn that on or off independently, but it is part of the cruise control system here. And then those are the separate buttons there. Windshield wiper controls are here on the right side of the steering column for the front and rear. Turn signal is on the left, but also the turn signal has the headlight controls. So it has off, so you can actually turn off the exterior lights, automatic, parking, and then headlights. Of course, automatic is the easiest, and it also has automatic high beams as well. I'm going to refer to this button as the pages button, and this button right here is up and down, and then pressing it in for the OK and make selections. So looking at the gauges here, on the left side is a kind of like a needle representation of just a regular standard speedometer. On the right side is the tachometer or RPM gauge. At the bottom of that is the engine coolant temperature. On the left side is the fuel gauge. There's also a fuel economy bar right here, outside temperature. Your range is located here on the left side, and your odometer is here on the right side. So you can see the vehicle has 34 miles total on it. But using these buttons here, I'm going to scroll up and down just to kind of show you what's going on. Kind of quickly just kind of go through. So you can see this is part of a menu system. Now if I push the pages button, it changes through different categories here. So the first one is this. It gives your attention level, basically. It's like, when is it time to take a break? If I scroll up and down on this page, then it gives me the attention level, and then the second one is the adaptive cruise control. So once we turn that system on, which right now we can't, but You can see like lane keep assist system and whether you're going over the lines, also whether there's a vehicle in front of you and the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, that kind of thing. So go to the next page. Now that's the one we originally started on, which had the digital speedometer. It also has trips for your fuel economy and how far you've driven, and also the time. It has a timer as well, and you can reset these independently. Next page is the this is just showing a digital compass, but once you set a route on the navigation system, it'll give you the turn-by-turn navigation prompts here as well. And the next one will be showing your tire pressure, that kind of thing. It's not going to show it right now because we're sitting still. Alright, so the default would be the digital speedometer for me, but that kind of gives you an idea of the different options there, that the different views, but also the different information that you can have. Also, this screen, you can change the way it looks. When you put it in, change the drive mode. I'll show you where the drive mode button knob is in just a minute, but when we go into sport, as you can see, it changes the way it looks. So you have sport, you got smart, and then you have comfort. So looks pretty cool. Now, if you just like the way it looks, you don't really necessarily want to drive around in sport mode all the time, I wish they could change the way the screen looks, just the style of it, without having to change it into sport mode. But it does have that ability to change the way it looks, and does remind you that you are in sport mode if you see the gauges looking like that as well. So that's kind of a quick rundown of what's going on with the screen. So it has this horizontal touch screen here, and I'm going to use a combination of touching the screen, but it also has physical knobs and buttons here as well. So this is all corresponding with the screen, and of course the climate control and all that stuff down here as well. So we're going to get to that, but right now the screen, we could just kind of slide through, and you can see it has these different icons, kind of set up like a cell phone in a way, where you have the different icons. You can slide to different screens and make the selection that you want. So that's the home screen, which gives you a clock and information about what's playing, and also the date, which is nice. You can also reorder these. So right now the map here is the first one. You can get an idea of what the map looks like here, and we can kind of zoom in and out, get our bearings. And at nighttime this will turn dark, so this is bright right now during the day. And anytime we can go back to the home screen right here. You also have the navigation menu where you can do searches. You can have saved destinations in here as well. Let's go back out of that. Your phone, once you pair that, you'll have access to your phone calls, your phone book, and your recent calls, that kind of thing. Phone projection, this is the Apple CarPlay Android Auto capabilities, and this would be through the USB system. So you will have to plug it into a USB port. Nice to have a voice memo here, so if you want to quickly tell yourself a memo, like a reminder or whatever, you could do that. You can go specifically to the climate control here, and we'll get into that in just a minute when we get to the buttons at the below. It does have a valet mode, passenger talk. So this is where you can enable that, and when you speak, it projects your voice through the sound system to the rear passenger. So that way you can hear you a little bit better. Since you're not facing them, your voice is kind of away from them, so sometimes they can't hear you. You can, turn that on. Also, quiet mode. Quiet mode is kind of like if you got some kids in the back sleeping and you don't want to wake them up. You can select that, and once you turn that on, it lowers the volume, and it only has the volume of the radio and media in the front. So the front speakers, you can still hear it, but it's not, blasting the kids in the back and waking them up, that kind of thing. It does have HD radio, regular radio, satellite radio, that kind of thing. So you can change it here, FM, AM, and then satellite radio. And when you're in the radio screen, there's this little thing right here that you press that, and it can pop out another thing. So in this case, it's the map. So you can see the map there on the side, and you can see the radio. Since we have this long horizontal screen, it gives us access to that. Now, if we have the map, we can, have something else popped up there as well. So it kind of gives you additional functionality, taking advantage of that width on the screen. Setup, this will be your settings. You can go in and set up the vehicle the way you want it, and there's quite a few setups here. Setup options. This is something you want to really go into and do a deep dive and make sure you have everything set up the way you want it before you start driving the vehicle, because this is, some stuff you may not even know. Some of the settings that the vehicle has is so comprehensive, and it's nice to go ahead and have them all set up the way you want it from the beginning, because that way you don't have to worry about it in the future. You just get it set up the way you want, and then you're done. And then you know where it is to go back if you want to change it later on. It does have a user manual here, but all it is it has the icon for it, but all it does is give you a QR code to where you can see it on your cell phone. But the good thing about having a digital user manual is you can search specifically for things. So even though it's not here on the screen, you do have the ability to have a digital one on your cell phone and quickly access it here, and then search for something. So you're not flipping through, looking through the directory of a book. You can actually search specifically for what you're looking for. So that's kind of a quick rundown of how to use the screen. It's fairly simple. It does have additional options here. You can turn the display off. You just tap it to turn it back on. You can also set up user settings. So when we push that button there, so you can see the difference. So this is the home button. So we saw that. But this button right here, you can go into that and you can set up a guest profile and then a user profile. So basically, once you get everything set up, you can save it to a particular profile, and also the seats will be set for that profile. So there's physical buttons down here to take you to key places that you would normally use. So let's say you have the screen up here and you don't want to search for whatever you're looking for. You want to just quickly go to the map. So even though the map is right there, let's say you're in that screen, or if you're in some other screen or whatever, you just quickly push these physical buttons and go to different locations on the screen. So there's map, navigation. You also have your favorites, so you can set up that star to go wherever you want, and then you have your radio, media, and then setup. When we push the media, we have access to the radio, AM, FM, satellite radio, but also your Bluetooth audio, USB. You also have sounds of nature, which is pretty cool. It just kind of plays some, like rain or rainforest, that kind of thing. And then Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So once you have your device connected, it will illuminate that. Right now they're grayed out. So the sounds of nature, let's just go ahead and pull that up and turn the volume up. Just kind of has different ones here, and you can change it. Rainy day. It sounds like crunching through the snow. So that's what that is. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, physical volume knob, you can change the stations here. So the physical buttons are nice to have. And below that is the climate control. So it's a dual zone, driver and passenger temperatures are here. And it has an automatic, which I turned off for right now for the video so the fan speed doesn't go up so high. And then it has the front and rear defrosters and recirculate the air. You can sync both the driver and passenger to the same temperature if you want when you do that. But it shows on the screen. So you remember we saw the climate control button up here. Let's go ahead and go back to that. So sometimes things will pop up on the screen. Let's say you're in another screen, it'll pop there on the side. But if you want to see the full view right here, you can see where the air is flowing. So when we change where the air is flowing by pushing this button where we want the air to blow, it'll show here on the screen where it's blowing. So now I have it top and bottom. It shows the fan speed, and it shows the temperature. See, like I have it at low, I can put it at 62, 63, and they're synced right now, so both of them are at the same temperature. So it does have the information there on the screen. It doesn't show the numbers down here. So when you adjust the temperature, you will have to look at the screen to know what temperature you're set at. And you can quickly access the climate here. So that's the physical button for that. So if we're in the screen right here, push that button, pops it up, and then that way you have the visual reference there. All right, so that's the screen shortcuts. There's the climate control. Now this is the shifter. So you have park, we're in park now, reverse, neutral, and drive. So I'm gonna hold the brake, and let's go ahead and put it in. We'll start off with neutral, I guess, and then drive, and then reverse. So when we put it in reverse, a couple things will happen. The parking sensors will activate, but also, and you'll see the parking sensor indicator there, and it also gives you a visual reference of where things are. If you happen to get close to something and it beeps at you, it shows you whether it's from the front, the back, and the right or left. It kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. And then you can look at the camera system here if you need to. You notice I'm parked kind of sideways here in the parking spot, but in order for the lighting situation that I'm dealing with, but I have some nice trees around here. But you can see that the lines in the parking lot are straight. It stitches together all those 4 cameras around the vehicle and gives it like a top down, like there's a camera, you know, like 30-40 feet above the vehicle looking directly down, so you can see where you are in relationship to other things. But it's able to stitch it together fairly well, so you can see you know, a relatively accurate, what's on the ground, accurate representation of what's around you. And of course you do have the backup camera as well. Now if we put it in drive, now we have a front view. Now that the camera is activated, it gives us the camera view from the front, so looking forward. So you can see in front of this vehicle is this parking lot, nice big tree, and it just looks really nice. It looks good, it's functional, and we also have these different buttons right here. So if we want to just have what's directly in front of the vehicle with where the tires are going to go, we can turn the steering wheel. It gives us active guidelines. It's actually right where the tires are actually going to go. We can see that. We can also get a wide view of the front. We can get the front 2 wheels. So as I turn the steering wheel, it only gives us the view. Kind of looks a little weird until you realize that it's just cutting out the vehicle and it's showing the front 2 wheels there. And that way you can really get close to curbs, that kind of thing. Or if you think you're too close, you can look. Now if we put it in reverse, it gives us a different set of options here. So now we can see the top down view of the back instead of the front. And also we have the line, the center line in this case. As we turn the steering wheel, it will turn. The second button right here gives us the what's directly behind the vehicle. This is the rear wheels instead of the front wheels, so we can see the side of the vehicle very in detail. And of course we have settings here. We can, you know, change to enable or disable things here as well. So it has a very functional camera system that is great. I mean, really like the way you can change your views and all that stuff, and being able to see in the front and the back. It's not just a backup camera. Having the ability to really fine tune and look and see where you're at, especially if you're in a parking in a weird spot and you want to see, you know, and it's very in detail right where the tire is. You can do that. Also, if you're just kind of questioning how you're lined up to a parking space or whatever, it's just really nice to have. All right, and at any time we can just go back into the park, and now we're back to you know, to park. So it's just a push button system. It's not a turn knob, not a shifter or anything like that. It's very simple, easy to use, and once you get used to this kind of system, it kind of spoils you in a way. It's just a little weird if you're not used to push button shifter type deals. If you're familiar with just like a slider type thing, this may seem a little weird and a little scary to some degree, because you think you're going to accidentally press buttons, and you know, when you're driving, if you're driving at speed, it's going to disable the other buttons. So you know, you can keep that in mind. It's not really a danger. Okay, so that's the drive mode knob that I was turning earlier that changed the view of the screen over here. There's also, when this vehicle comes to a complete stop, default when you're driving will turn the engine off. You can turn that feature off here. So when you get in the vehicle, if you want to turn it off, you can quickly do that. Also, it has auto hold, so it'll hold the brakes for you while you're sitting still at a stoplight or whatever, or a traffic jam, so you can turn that feature on or off. This one has an indicator light whether it's off. That's the off light, by the way. When you push this, it lets you know that it's on up here on the screen. So it doesn't have a indicator light here. Heated steering wheel as well. I forgot to mention the steering wheel is heated, and that's where the control is. And the parking sensors, you can turn them on or off here, and the indicator means that they're on. And this is a quick access button to access the camera. So we're in park right now, and if I push that, it gives us the camera views. So that way, even if we're not, like in reverse or anything, we can still look at the camera if we need to. If we just want to look around us, we can do that, which is nice. All right, so here's the ventilated seat. It's a 3-stage, high, medium, and low, off. For the driver's side, heated seat. You see the color, there's blue. This one's like an orange color. It's high, medium, and low, so 3-stage as well. And the same thing for the passenger. So you have heated and cooled there. We have more of that carbon fiber look right in here. Soft touch here on the side. You see little cubbies, kind of hard to get to for me, but maybe useful for some people. So the passenger side has the USB port, and on the driver's side is a 12-volt power supply and a little storage cubby, which is nice to have. It's kind of out of the way though. This lifts up, and there's a little cup holder right here, and it has little articulating arms. So when you put a cup in there, it has support as well, and it keeps it in place, a bottle or a cup or whatever, which is nice. Same thing here. Little articulating arms, fills in the gaps accommodates different size cups. The USB port for connecting to the system, especially the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, as well as charging. And you see that button right there, that is for the wireless charger. But the charger is actually over here, which is interesting. You can put a phone in here and then close it down. But there's a little pass-through right here for a wire to go from the USB port over to here, because this has, and it's kind of hard to see, let me adjust the brightness here, this is where the phone goes. So if you put the phone in here, the bottom part is like a little trap door in there, and it pushes down and it holds the phone against this surface here, and that way it charges. So it's kind of weird, it's kind of hard to show on a camera, but that's what it does. The phone is upright, and you put it down in there, and it kind of holds it, is what the intention is anyway. And when you're not doing that, I would say you probably don't want to use this as a place to put stuff, because your things can fall down in that trap door, and it might be kind of hard to get out. You can pull it out like so, but if you put something in there and then it jams it up, it might not be so easy to get out. And without this, if you put your phone in there, then it's not going to be held up against the charger. So just want to keep that in mind. It's kind of, I would think it would work for most phones, but it's a little bit strange for me, a little bit different anyway. Okay, so here's the armrest, and it's pretty good size. It's rubbery soft. It's very rounded. It's not very flat, and I guess that it feels pretty good. I mean, that roundedness kind of is good for your arm to kind of contour down. So at first I was like, thought it was kind of different, but it actually is really nice. And maybe you might be able to share it with the passenger. It depends on how generous you are. But this button right here lifts it up, and it doesn't flop back down. It's kind of spring loaded, and it kind of holds it up here, and this goes back like so. There's a quick access little tray that you can put right there, And it's good because the thing about this thing, it's like this compartment is very deep, and it's like this abyss, especially since it's dark in here. And I put some of my business cards at the bottom just so you can see, because it's basically an abyss without it. You can't, it just goes and fades to black. You can't really see what's in there. Once again, I'm going to adjust the brightness really high so you can see what's going on in there. There is a rubber or felt, sorry, bottom part, but it's all black. And when you put stuff in there, it's just going to clutter it up. So if you need to access something quickly, regularly, you want to go ahead and use that tray. So that way you can get it. So you're not digging to the bottom of a bunch of junk trying to get something, considering how, you know, it's just kind of like you throw it in the bottom of a well or whatever is what it seems like. So having that little quick access tray is nice. Rear view mirror is auto dimming. It's actually auto dimming right now because I had the shade over this light sensor, which is located here on the right side. So it's an auto dim rear view mirror. It has the HomeLink garage door opener controls here on the left side, right there on the bottom. Up here is the controls for these lights, LED lights here. And then you have independent lights here. So this is all the lights. If you want to have the lights turn on with the door, you can enable or disable that depending on, you know, like if you got a kid sleeping, you don't want the light shining in their face, you can do that. So this is the blue link button for roadside assistance and information, that kind of thing. And then, or the information, this is the roadside assistance button here, so you can access that. And it will confirm, you know, if you push that accidentally, you know, you're gonna have the ability to cancel it if you need to. So this right here is for the shade for the sunroof, as well as opening it and all that stuff. We'll get to that in just very quickly. This headliner is really nice. It's like a gray fabric. It looks great. I'm really liking it. Same thing. It's the same material here on the visor, and has a little clip right here, and a mirror which has like a little protective cover on it right now. But you can have this little light which you can turn on. When you close it, you see the light turns out. When you pull it down, you can turn it back on. You see the little switch sticks out, so when we lift this up, it hits it and turns it off. So that's something that kind of neat. Same kind of deal on the passenger side. This visor does slide out on this plastic rod right here, and adds to the, you know, your shifts your coverage basically. So we're going to use this button here. It's just one button that controls the shade, the sunroof, and everything here. So let's go ahead and just kind of gently slide it back. If I gently just push it back one little touch, it's going to move the shade back. Pull it back again, it'll open up the sunroof. Pull it back again, nothing happens because this is as far back as it goes. Now we push it forward. Now I pushed it forward a little bit too hard, so now it's going to close it, the glass and the shade. So depending on how hard you push it. So if I just gently do it, if I would have gently pushed it forward, it would have just closed the glass. So now let's tilt it up. So we push up on it again to lower it. So looking at the visibility here in the back, I have one seat up, one seat down, so you get an idea of how the seat affects your visibility, which is not a huge amount because it kind of lines up the pillar in this particular angle. But it does have several pillars there that could potentially get in your way, cause a blind spot. But overall, just kind of looking over my shoulder, it looks fine. It's not really a big issue like some vehicles. But also it has the camera system, the blind spot detection, rear cross traffic alert, parking sensors, all kinds of technology to help you drive the vehicle in addition to just looking out the window. All right, so there you have it. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Parkway Hyundai here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I'll see you guys next time.